If your Williamsburg home search is somewhere between $500,000 and $800,000, the biggest mistake you can make is assuming that budget buys the same lifestyle everywhere in the area. It doesn't. One home may give you newer construction, modern finishes, and neighborhood amenities, but a similar price somewhere else could mean mature trees, a larger lot, and an older property that needs some updating. Move closer to Colonial Williamsburg and you might find yourself trading off square footage for the location. Shift towards York County, and then the commute can become a bigger part of the decision. So the price may look similar on paper, but what you're buying can be completely different depending on where you're buying it in Williamsburg. Hi, my name is Randy Hoffey, and I am a local realtor here in beautiful Williamsburg, Virginia. And today I'm going to show you how this budget changes across Greater Williamsburg, including James City County, York County, and of course areas close to the city itself. We will also look at newer homes, established neighborhoods, golf communities, renovation needs, and the trade-offs that can be easy to miss when you're searching from another state. By the end, you should have a much clearer idea of what your money can realistically buy and which version of Williamsburg fits the way you want to live. If you already are searching in this price range, leave your target budget in the comments. A buyer near $500,000 may be looking at a very different set of choices than someone closer to $800,000. Let's begin with the lower end of the range, around $500,000 in Greater Williamsburg. You're entering the competitive part of the market. Recent market data has placed the median sales price around the low to mid 400s in Williamsburg and York County, while James City County has been closer to $500,000. That means a $500,000 budget can put you near the center of one of the local markets while feeling more constrained in another. At this level, buyers often expect a large updated family home with a generous yard in one of the most recognizable neighborhoods in Williamsburg. You may find that combination, but usually not without some kind of compromise. The home could be older, it may sit further from the part of Williamsburg you really pictured. You might need to do some renovations, you might have to accept less square footage, or you might have a smaller lot. The important thing is understanding which compromise really matters to you. It creates a more distinctive exterior in a location that is difficult to recreate in a newer development. The trade-off is that you need to look beyond the surface. A fresh coat of paint can make the home feel updated, while the roof, windows, heating and cooling system, plumbing or electrical components are approaching the end of their useful life. And that could mean big dollars. That does not mean you should avoid the property. It means your budget needs room for ownership after closing. A buyer who uses every available dollar on the purchase price may feel uncomfortable when the first major repair arrives. Someone who keeps renovation reserves may be able to buy in a better location and improve the home gradually. That's the important difference there. You are not only deciding what you can purchase, you are deciding how much uncertainty you're comfortable carrying into the first few years of ownership. Around the $500,000 mark, newer construction can also enter the conversation. However, the base price is rarely the complete price. Depending on the community, the builder, and the number you first see, it may not include the lot premium, structural changes, upgraded flooring, cabinets, countertops, appliances, or other selections. A home advertised near your budget can quickly move beyond it once the choices are added. You also need to understand what the neighborhood will look like while construction continues. There may be unfinished streets, active building nearby, limited landscaping, and amenities are planned but not completed. For some buyers, that is worth it, but it may not be. You get a newer layout, modern systems, improved energy efficiency, and fewer immediate repair concerns. However, for another buyer, might prefer an established street where the trees, traffic patterns, surrounding homes are already known. Neither direction is automatically safer. The better choice depends on whether you would rather manage future maintenance or accept the costs and uncertainty that can come with a developing community. Now let's move closer to $600,000. This is where the search often begins to open up. You may see more 4-bedroom homes, better interior updates, additional living space, larger garages, or stronger neighborhood options. The mistake here is assuming that every extra dollar goes directly into the house. Location can absorb a large part of that price increase. A home close to shopping, restaurants, major roads, or Colonial Williamsburg may offer less space than a similarly priced property further out. That can look disappointing if you compare only bedrooms and square footage. Daily convenience has value too, even though it does not appear in the room count. Consider what happens after you move. How often will you drive to work? Where will you buy your groceries? Do you expect to spend time near Colonial Williamsburg? Would you rather have more land, or would easier access improve your week? A large home may feel like the obvious value until you calculate how much time you spend driving from it. The reverse can also be true. A convenient location may not compensate for a small yard, limited storage, or a floor plan that does not work for your family. That's why you should avoid comparing properties as though the asking price is the only common denominator. You are paying for a combination of the structure, land, condition, neighborhood, and access to area attractions. That mix can change from one part of the area to another. James City County is often central to this conversation because many properties marketed with a Williamsburg address are located there. At the $600,000 level, you may find established family homes, planned communities, newer construction, or properties with more space. The choices can still vary widely. One neighborhood may have amenities and a stronger homeowners association presence. Elsewhere, you could find fewer community features, but more independence in a larger lot. An HOA can provide consistency, common area maintenance, pools, trails, golf, or social activities. It can also bring additional monthly costs and rules governing the property. Before you become attached to a house, read the association documents and understand the fees. Do not wait until the contract period to discover that the community does not allow something important to you. That could all involve parking, exterior changes, fences, rentals, landscaping, or how you use the property. The home tour shows you the building. The documents tell you how you're allowed to use it. Around the midpoint of this price range, I would be curious to know what you value more: a newer home with neighborhood amenities or an established home with a larger lot. Put your preference in the comments below. That choice usually shapes the Williamsburg search more than buyers expect. Now let's look at York County. This is where location needs careful attention. Some buyers include portions of York County in their Williamsburg home search because the areas connect naturally and may offer appealing family homes. The experience, however, can change depending on where you work and how often you need to travel through the region. If you are connected to the military, Newport News, Hampton, or another part of Hampton Roads, the right York County location may improve your commute. Choose without testing the route, and you could create the opposite result. Map estimates are helpful, but they do not show the full experience. You need to test the drive during the hours you will actually use it. Road access, traffic patterns, school arrival times, and bridge or tunnel conditions elsewhere in Hampton Roads can affect your daily routine. Just ask anybody who lives here. The house may offer more of what you want, but the commute becomes a real part of the cost. That cost is measured in time, predictability, and how much energy you have left at the end of the day. York County can also give buyers another mix of established neighborhoods, family homes, and access to different employment centers. At $600,000 to $700,000, you may find more space or stronger updates than you would in a location carrying a larger Williamsburg lifestyle premium. The details still matter, however. Property taxes, utility arrangements, HOA fees, school district boundaries, and commute routes should all be verified for the individual address. A Williamsburg mailing address does not tell you everything you need to know about the jurisdiction and your daily experience there. Now let's move towards $700,000. At this point, buyers often expect the compromises to disappear. Usually they become more specific instead. You may be able to choose a larger home, a more updated interior, a stronger lot, or a desirable community. Getting all those together is harder though. A newer home might sit on a smaller lot. An established property could offer more character, but requires some improvements. A golf community may provide amenities and attractive surroundings while adding fees and other restrictions. Closer proximity to the City of Williamsburg may reduce the amount of house you receive for this price. This is where buyers can become frustrated. They have a substantial budget, yet every home still seems to have something missing. That's normal. Don't fret it. The answer is not to keep increasing the budget without a plan. You need to rank the features that are difficult or impossible to change. Location becomes near the top because you cannot move the lot. The size and shape of the property also matter very much. A floor plan can sometimes be modified, although the cost can be significant, so don't ignore that. Paint, fixtures, flooring, and cosmetic finishes are much easier to change. Buyers often reverse those priorities during a showing. They reject the better location because the kitchen looks dated, then become attached to a renovated house in an area that creates problems for their routine later on. A beautiful kitchen can influence your first reaction. The location, however, determines how the home functions every day for you. That does not mean renovations are always simple, though. Before buying an older home, you need a realistic estimate of what the work will cost. A buyer may look at a dated kitchen and assume it needs a modest cosmetic refresh. However, once cabinets, counters, flooring, lighting, electrical work, appliances, and labor are included, the project can really become much larger. Bathrooms can follow the same pattern. Even a straightforward improvement may uncover plumbing, moisture, or structural concerns. You should approach renovation with a range rather than one optimistic number. Build in room for surprises, especially when the house is older. If the finished value supports the investment, and you love the location, renovation can be a smart path. It becomes dangerous, however, when you pay top of the market pricing for a home that still needs major work. Towards the $800,000, the Williamsburg market can introduce another level of choices. You may see larger homes, more refined finishes, golf-oriented communities, premium lots, or properties in sought-after locations. Ford's Colony is one example of the type of community that can become relevant near this range, with recent sale prices in the upper $700,000s. A community like that may offer golf, security features, amenities, social opportunities, and well-established environment. The purchase price is only one part of the decision. You need to understand the association fees, club arrangements, maintenance expectations, and whether you will actually use what you're paying for. Amenities have the most value when they support your routine. A pool you never visit and a golf course you never use may still contribute to the neighborhood experience, but they should not be the main reason you stretch your budget. At this price, lot quality can also create major differences. A home backing to open space may command more than the same floor plan near a busier road. Water views, golf views, privacy, and cul-de-sac positioning can all affect price. So can features that are less glamorous but highly practical, such as a 3-car garage, first floor primary suite, home office, or additional storage. Those details become especially important for buyers relocating from larger homes. You may not need more bedrooms, but you may need room for furniture, hobbies, visitors, or equipment that is coming with you. Square footage alone does not explain whether the home will hold your life comfortably. The layout matters. A 3,000 square foot home with wasted formal rooms can function worse than a smaller property with better storage and connecting living spaces. That's why I would never tell a buyer that $800,000 automatically buys a better home than $600,000. It buys access to a different group of choices. Whether those choices are better depends on what you need. Now let's compare the 3 broad search areas. Within James City County, your budget may open the door to established neighborhoods, planned communities, golf-oriented living, and several types of family homes. The City of Williamsburg and nearby areas may place more emphasis on proximity, historic character, walkability, and convenience. York County can introduce different commute advantages and housing options depending on the exact location there. Those areas overlap in the way people talk about Greater Williamsburg, but they are not interchangeable. The legal jurisdiction affects taxes, services, school assignments, and local regulations. The physical location influences your commute and daily routine. Neighborhood design changes the amount of privacy, maintenance, and community involvement. You need to evaluate all 3 layers. Many buyers stop after deciding they like Williamsburg. That is the beginning of your search, not the end. Your next step is identifying which version of Williamsburg really fits you. Are you looking for a newer family home where major systems should require less immediate attention? Would an established neighborhood with more mature trees feel more like home? Does golf or an amenity package matter enough to justify the ongoing cost? How close do you need to be to work, shopping, or Colonial Williamsburg itself? Would you rather renovate in a preferred location or pay more for a finished home somewhere else? Your answers will determine whether $500,000 feels restrictive, comfortable, or completely unrealistic. The same applies at $800,000. A higher budget gives you more leverage, but it does not remove the need to choose carefully. So before you begin touring homes, separate your priorities into 3 categories. First, identify the things that you cannot change after closing. That would be the location of the property, road exposure, neighborhood structure, and the commute. And then next, decide which features you want completely done when you move in. You might look at roof condition, major systems, layout changes, windows, and large renovations. Make those part of that discussion. Then look at cosmetic details, paint colors, light fixtures, hardware, and many finishes, which can be changed without rebuilding your entire budget. This approach keeps you from paying premium for presentation while overlooking the parts of the property that will shape your ownership experience in the years to come. It also makes the search less stressful. Instead of reacting emotionally to every listing, you have a clear way to judge value. A dated home in the right location may become more appealing suddenly, while a beautiful renovation with difficult commute may lose some of its shine. The decision becomes easier because you know what your money needs to accomplish. As of mid-2026, buyers in Greater Williamsburg are seeing meaningful differences between local markets and homes within this price range, and they can still move quickly, but they're not moving as quickly as before. So you do have some time to decide, but you can't wait all day. So you really need to know what you're looking for in this market. So you have enough time to be thoughtful, but it doesn't mean that every strong listing will wait for you. So the safest approach is to do your area research before the right house appears. Know your preferred jurisdictions, test the commute, understand the communities, have a realistic renovation limit, and once those decisions are made, you can move with more confidence when a good property comes onto the market. If you're considering a Williamsburg home between $500,000 and $800,000, call us at 757-903-8840. You can also email us at randyandjody@srmfre.com. Tell us what you want the home to provide, where you need to travel, and which trade-offs you're willing to make. From there, we can help you understand which parts of Greater Williamsburg deserve your complete attention. Leave your target price range in the comments, along with the features you are least willing to compromise on. And subscribe, of course, for more practical guidance about Williamsburg neighborhoods, relocation decisions, local costs, and what you should understand before you buy. Your budget sets the range, but a clear strategy helps you use it well.